Charles Wilhelm has become known as one of the country's top trainers for both horses and people. His approach to training focuses on educating the horse owner alongside their equine partners so they can form a strong bond and achieve an amazing partnership.
A snaffle bit. The principles of a snaffle bit is that it works, the primary purpose that it works from right to left. Okay? In other words, there's a right rein, a direct right rein, and there's a direct left rein. Okay, one is direct, one is indirect. Okay, so we get lateral flexion. Now, let me show you what a snaffle bit looks like. This is the most common snaffle bit is a loose ring. Okay, which this one is a 3.5 inch diameter. They run anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 as a general. But the mouthpiece, most snaffle bits are 2-piece. Okay? The bigger the diameter, less severe. Okay, so a lot of your dressage horses and English horses, you usually end up with a bigger diameter. This is about a 3/8 diameter, okay, where it goes on the bars of the horse's mouth. And he has some that we call piano wire, which is just varies about an 1/8 in diameter, which is very harsh. I like something around 3/16 to 3/8. The ones they use in dressage, the big fat ones, less severe, but the horse learns real quick no respect to the hands because it's too easy to lean on it. Here's a twisted wire. Sometimes when I get a horse into training here, someone's been pulling on his face for so long, it's just dull. And they don't care. They'll just fall right down on your hands and pull on your hands. They don't care. And it's not that they don't feel it. They just learn to tolerate it, and that's what horses do. People, you know, they tolerate a lot of things that we shouldn't be doing. Okay? So a twisted wire. This is approximately 3/8 in diameter, and I use this sometimes for maybe 3, 5, maybe 6 times till they start learning to yield to my hands, and then I put a smooth mouth in. Okay? I don't recommend this to amateurs though, you know, unless you're under the supervision of a trainer. This is a 3-piece. That's just one example. Okay? Here's another 3-piece. This is called a lifesaver. Sometimes on the lifesaver, sometimes when I'm starting horses and they get a little tonguey, in other words, they're flipping their tongue around and they get the tongue on the other side of the bit and the bit goes underneath the tongue, this works real well. Also, if you got a horse that has this tendency to be a little on the nervous side, you can use this because it has little copper rollers, kind of entertains them. Takes that nerves and put it into something constructive instead of chewing on it, okay? Another popular bit that's used mostly in English, but it's actually good in starting colts. All right, because it distributes the weight more on the cheek piece side, right in here. So when you pull on it, it'll have less tendency to pull through, and it still can, but it has way less tendency. And that's why on my snaffles I always put chin straps. You can see a chin strap here. So in other words, if I'm pulling on this left rein, I pick up on this left rein, right? And he's leaning against it. If it pulls on him real hard, he pulls on it real hard, it's going to help keep the bit from coming through his mouth. Okay, it's just a helper. Doesn't put brakes on a horse. A lot of times people think the chin strap is, we call it a snaffle hobble. And they come in different metals. Like this full cheek is nickel plated. Probably my least favorite mouthpiece. Okay? It can come in brass, copper. My favorite are sweet iron. I love a sweet iron. Sometimes it's all rusty and people go, well, let me clean it up. I go, no, 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 no. They like it when it's rusty. The reason we like that, because it promotes wetness in the mouth. And it helps acceptance. You know, a horse that has a dry mouth, they're going to have a tendency to be resistant. So you want a wet mouth. Here's this Lifesaver I showed you. If you notice, this has got a curve in it. If you look at it, it's got a nice curve in it, which means it has a nice tongue relief. So when it lays in the horse's mouth, there's some nice tongue relief. It's not straight. This is also an offset D. Most of your Western people use that. And this is very instant in when you pick up the reins. Where a loose ring, the ring floats in the horse's mouth. Let me show you here. See, it can float through the ring. With an offset D, it's pretty fixed. Okay? Good or bad? I think it depends on the horse, you know, but probably most of the time you could use an offset D or an O-ring on just about any horse. Here again, it's not the equipment, it's these hands and the brain behind it.
We hope you've enjoyed watching Charles Wilhelm's Ultimate Foundation Horsemanship. Remember, to find out more about Charles and to see how you can get the most out of your relationship with your horse, visit Charles online at charleswilhelm.com.